Hey everyone, Sheila here from Life with Pets. So today is the day we're going to start setting up our 125 gallon tank. This one is new to us, and if you haven't seen the previous video, I will leave a link to it in the little iCard so that you can see all the upcoming projects that we are going to be doing on our channel. This tank is going to be the upgrade for the fish that are currently in our 75 gallon tank, and what we're going to do with it is exactly the same as we did with the 75 gallon, and that is basically line it out with the divider material that we use to make our tank dividers for betta fish tanks and things like that. I will leave links where possible in the description box below. However, I'm not going to be leaving any links to the material, and that is simply because every time that we do that, the links seem to then go dead, and I spend a lot of time trying to find it elsewhere to give links. So the material that we use is a closed cell PVC foam board. Now the closed cell is what is important. It is not a foam board. It is a PVC. It is extremely strong and sturdy, and it is what we have used for tank dividers for I think almost 3 years now. We've not found that it had any issues being in the tank, and it has actually been in our 75 gallon tank for almost a year and a half. Now the reason that we line the tank out is, as many of you know, we have Amazon pufferfish, and it is a very common problem with them that they become obsessed with their reflection, and so they do an awful lot of glass surfing. And when we got the fish, we realized this was a huge problem. We have had the fish now for a year and a half, and fairly early on we came up with this as a solution to see if we could take care of the issues of the glass surfing, which is basically a stress factor for the fish. And once we lined out the tank, it was just like a night and day experience, and the fish were so happy, and we no longer had the glass surfing. So we've decided that as the pufferfish are going into the 125 gallon tank, then we're going to do the same thing. Now with the tank, we are going to try and just do the back of the tank and see if we still have the problems with them glass surfing on the sides. If we do, then we will just go back in and add some of this material to the sides of the tank as well. So Adam just measured the tank out, and then as you can see, he's then cutting the material. Now this can be cut on a saw, or it can just be cut using a Stanley knife or craft knife, and it does give a nice clean break. You do need to be very careful when doing it. This is actually a portion of his job, so he is very comfortable around tools. So if you are doing this, please take great care when doing it. The board is actually 1/4 inch, and it does cut fairly easily, but it does take patience when sort of scoring the material. As you can see there, 1/4 inch. So this material, I think it can be found at Home Depot or Lowe's, and I think it can be also found on Amazon, but I don't think in the sort of lengths and sizes that you see here. Because we actually buy this material in insane amounts for our tank dividers, then we obviously get it in very large sheets, and so it's easy for us to be able to do this sort of thing. What you've just seen him doing there with the screwdriver is basically just rounding the edges of it so that there are no sharp edges when it goes into the tank. Once the backing is in the tank, then that is it. It is in place. What we did choose to do this time was to actually use some of the sidebar material that we use for the dividers to sort of hold it more securely in place. I don't think this would realistically stay completely in place if there was no substrate, but obviously we are planning on adding substrate to the tank, so I don't really see that that is going to be a problem. Once we had added it to the tank, we discovered that there was quite a lot of silicone in the corners of the tank, and so we then took it out and just actually cut off the corner so that it would sit better on the silicone in the tank, because as it was sort of raising it up and it wasn't sitting as we wanted it in the tank. So as you can see here, this is how we just cut the material. Again, if this is something that you choose to do, please be very, very careful. My husband is very used to doing all this, and if you're not holding it carefully, then it can slip, and obviously you don't want to have any accidents. Once we'd taken the corners off, it was a much better fit in the tank, and we were then able to move on to other things. So with that all in and done, we're now ready to add the substrate to the tank, and we have actually chosen this time to go with a mixture of substrate. We were wanting to do completely fluval stratum, however that substrate is just so expensive, and obviously for a tank this size would have been a huge amount of money. So we decided to split it up between two different substrates, and that was the Eco Complete and also the Fluval stratum. And I just want to say a huge thank you to a follower of ours on Instagram who was testing one of our new 20-gallon tall dividers, wanted to send us a gift, and they were so kind in sending us a Visa gift card that we were then able to put towards buying some of this substrate. So I want to say a huge thank you to you. You know who you are, and that was a huge blessing to us with this project. So we chose this substrate basically because we do like it. Eco Complete, as many of you know, I'm not a huge fan of. However, we did use that predominantly in our 75-gallon tank, and in the long run it did work okay for us. However, we are huge fans of the Fluval stratum. Our plants always do amazingly well in that substrate, and so that is what we decided to do. So that's it for this video. Make sure that you're subscribed and got that notification bell on. The next video will be actually setting this tank up. The next video will be a complete setup of the tank, and we are very, very happy with how it's turned out, and I can't wait to share it with you guys. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.